You sure looked like you were enjoying yourself.
I was. It felt like some other person's excitement just took over.
That can happen when you use the garment grid. The emotions of the person recorded in the sphere pass to the user.
Isn't that dangerous?
I can't really say.
But it's your invention.
I'm just a kid.
Dancing, Yuna, I want to see.
It'll cost you.
One moment.
She's kidding.
What? No dance? Music TV. Goblins! The wing kudidok!
And with that, we are on our home base. The airship Celsius. Looks significantly different than the airship we had 2 years ago, but it's an airship, I guess. And it definitely seems to suit Brother a bit more, I guess, but anyways. Alrighty, so let's find out more about our comrades here.
This is Pain. I look up to her as a sphere hunter, and also as a friend. I still don't know her very well. She's not exactly the talkative type. I heard she joined the Gullwings shortly before I did. Riku doesn't know much about her either.
What now?
Nothing.
Alright, let's talk to Riku.
Having fun?
You bet. It all began when I saw this sphere of you. At least, it looked like you. I couldn't say for sure. I thought I might find more spheres like it if I joined the Gullwings, so I did. Oh, in case you're wondering, the Gullwings are sphere hunters, and sphere hunters are, well, this. We fly all over Spira. I'm really enjoying myself.
Glad to hear it. For a while there, I was starting to feel like a kid now.
Don't be silly.
Yuna, has my talking gotten better?
He really has improved quite a bit. He told me that he practiced, just so that he could talk with me more.
Learning Albed and Brother and the Albed race speak their own unique language. Yuna has managed to pick up a little Albed during her travels with the Gullwings, but she still has a ways to go. Go digging for Albed primers in the Bikanil Desert. Expose yourself to the language as much as possible, and you'll be proficient in no time. Yeah. Yuna was not the one learning Albed in the last game, so yeah, she has to learn it all by herself, so yeah. And by speaking to Brother here, we get Albed Primer Volume 21, 19, and number 3. One thing I have picked up on with regards to the Albed primers in this game is that they're given to you in a fixed order. So, for instance, we just got those 3. If we had, spoken to somebody else that gave out another 3 somewhere else in the game, they would have given us those 3. So, yeah, it's kind of like it's like they've got a list of the Albed primers, and they're just, I guess you could say it kind of works out the way the old PlayStation 1 RNG, random number trade generator worked. There was a set pattern, set sequence of numbers between 1 and 256, I believe, and then it just, just had a counter go down the list kind of thing. So yeah, that's basically how it works. It's just basically, it's like somebody wants an Albed primer, give us the next one kind of thing. So yeah, in the list. All right, let's talk to Buddy.
Still analyzing.
Greedy.
Buddy and Brother are old friends. Buddy says he was aboard Sid's airship with us 2 years ago. When I told him I didn't remember, he seemed disappointed.
And for speaking to Buddy, we get Albed Primer, Volume 17. Yeah, I forgot to talk to Brother a second time. First 2 are and I can't figure out what the other 2 are. Alright, let's talk to Shinra.
I know everything.
Shinra's an Albed. He's a real whiz kid.
Yeah, I hope his lack of foresight into the consequences of his inventions and progression in technology doesn't become a habit. You know, the whole gaining power from spheres. Anyways. Alright, there's one thing we definitely do have to do with regards to completion, and that's in the treasure spheres here, so we'll do that last, and yeah, let's do the bestiary first. I don't think there's anything in here yet. This basically just records, you know, what we've run into. And what's that in the bottom right? Oversoul subjects? Yeah, that's another feature they added to this game, which is part of the reason why I'm actually not expecting to remove very many random battles out of this game during the LP. The only time where I will probably most definitely remove random battles is if I'm grinding for something, so yeah. But for the most part, I'll try to keep most of them in, if not all of them, just because, well, depending on how you start the battle can change the, you know, especially with regards to different dress spheres, can change the strategy you use for it to, you know, optimize the battle kind of thing, so yeah.
I know everything.
And that's the one thing I'm kind of meh about with Shinra, is that you had to talk to him every single time just to get something new, so yeah. And then the dossiers about all the people we've met so far. We got Yuna.
My body just started dancing by itself. I didn't know what was going on. I was frightened.
The High Summoner who defeated Sin 2 years ago and brought the Eternal Calm. The discovery of a certain sphere led her to flee her island home and begin a personal journey. And I'm going to let the camera rotate a bit more here, and you can see that pink ponytail of hers dropping down all the way down to her boots. I do not know anybody whose hair can grow that much in 2 years, and yes, it is a ponytail. So yeah, you can probably see it a bit better in cutscenes, but yeah, it is indeed her hair. So either it is her hair, or there's some, and she's got some impressive ability to grow hair very long, very fast, or she's got some crazy extensions in. But anyways, and Riku.
Y-R-P. In position. It's showtime, girls.
Oh, that was definitely something, having Terra Strong whisper in your ear, but anyways. An Al-Bhed girl who was once Yuna's guardian. It was Riku who dragged Yuna out of her stable but uneventful existence in Besaid. So, yeah. Pain.
What now?
One of the Gullwings, she isn't the talkative type. As the story goes, she joined the Gullwings for a chance to fly on the airship. Fair enough, I guess. And yeah, then we got Brother. Riku's older brother and leader of the Gullwings. He learned our language out of an intense desire to speak with Yuna, but when overly stimulated, he slips back into Al-Bhed. And then Buddy.
Buddy and Brother are old friends. Buddy says he was aboard Sid's airship with us 2 years ago.
Brother's childhood friend, and for all intents and purposes, the Gullwing's number 2. As down-to-earth as he may be, from time to time he says things really out of this world. Anyways, and then Shinra.
I'm just a kid.
Anyways. An Al-Bhed Wunderkind. Underneath that mask, is he pondering his next invention or Spira's future? Maybe not Spira's future, but it is. Who's Barkeep? We haven't met him yet. Or her. But, oh. Maybe we will shortly. But anyways. Alright. Shinra again. Let's go to Shinra's Guide to Everything. And in here, you got the Battle Beginner's House, using garment grids, learning new abilities, and glossary of Spira. Let's take a look at the Beginner's House here. And yeah, so we got the glossary here, we got ATB, we know what that is. Sphere changes, know what that is, changing job classes in battle. Dress spheres are basically the job classes themselves. And a garment grid is what you place dress spheres on. So yeah, that grid that showed up when I during the battle with LeBlanc when I pressed the L1, that is the garment grid, and the different nodes and all that stuff was the early dress spheres, the job classes. So yeah, and the battle system itself. Yeah, you got the screen layout, wait time, charge time. Yeah, there is casting time as well, so heads up there. Changing dress spheres, so changing job classes, chain attacks. And it basically just says what I've already said, but see if there's anything that might help out with any clarity. Appears in chain attack. Occurs when one successful attack is immediately followed by another. As long as the attacks are consecutive and both hit, they will be chained together. So yeah, I haven't noticed a little bit of a bug with that, but another reason why I decided to scrap the whole idea of you know, making sure I get chaining going every single time. So yeah, there's some conditions where the chain won't actually trigger, kind of thing. So yeah, elements. Elements are innate forces found within certain enemies and spells. So as fire, ice, lightning, water. Other elements exist in addition to these primary four. You're gonna explain them. Many enemies have inherent elemental strengths and weaknesses. Use abilities like the gun mage's scan to find out what they are. Probably one of the coolest job classes in this game. This game. There are 4 levels of affinity to each element: weak, double elemental damage, half elemental damage, immune, no elemental damage, and absorb damage converted to HP. So many spells and techniques have elemental properties. Some equipment adds elemental properties to physical attacks as well. Alright, so it didn't go into the other elements. There is gravity and holy as well. And I guess you could say physical attacks and general magical attacks, like non-elemental attacks, are also considered an element, if you will, the way some of the enemies operate. So yeah, keep that in mind. And status elements. There are a lot of them in this game, so yeah. Besides reducing HP, enemy attacks may inflict status elements that affect a character's performance in battle. Poison. The victim takes damage over time, and you gotta use antidote for that. As one might be able to guess, you use eye drops for darkness, drops for accuracy, echo screen for silence, which blocks your ability to use white or black magic, sing, or dance. So silence is bad. Sleep, like, seems to be a trend with a lot of sleep status ailments in games, is that as soon as you get physically attacked, it wakes you up. So yeah. Pardon me. Petrification, use a soft to get out of that. Confusion, again, like sleep, it snaps you out of it whenever you get physically attacked. And you get Berserk, which obviously it increases your damage output, but also it basically turns you into a glass cannon that you lose control of. So yeah. Pointless, a new one. So yeah, victim cannot receive experience or ability points from the battle. So basically just use holy water before the battle ends, or else you'll get nothing. Curse, victim cannot sphere change, so you gotta use holy water for that. And itchy is the opposite of curse. All commands except sphere change are disabled, so basically it forces you to change your job class, so to get out of it. Or you can use a holy water and get out of it that way, so yeah. 2 ways to get out of that one. So poison, darkness, silence, petrification, and pointless remain after battle, so heads up there. And all status ailments can be removed with the item remedy or the white magic spell Isuna. So yeah. And there's the list of status ailments. Status ailments and changes to the party's attributes are indicated by the icons shown here. So yeah. There's death, petrification, sleep, silence, darkness, poison, confusion, berserk, curse, eject, pointless, itchy, auto life, shell, protect, reflect, regen, haste, slow, stop, strength boosting, magic boosting, defense boosting, magic defense boosting, accuracy boosting, evasion boosting, luck boosting, doom, null physical, null magic, invincible, strength, debuffing, I guess. Reducing strength, reduces magic, reducing defense, reducing magic defense, reducing accuracy, reducing evasion, and reducing luck. So yeah, a full page of status ailments. Alright, and abilities. It's actually pretty I'll go into it. Learning abilities. Defeating enemies and using commands earn ability points. Characters learn new abilities in battle after collecting enough AP. And like I said, you can actually use that that learned ability in that same battle if you've still got the opportunity to. So yeah. Different abilities are learned depending on the dress sphere currently equipped. You can choose the next ability to learn by selecting abilities from the main menu. This is going to start sounding a lot like the Guardian Forces from Final Fantasy VIII, but with one quality of life improvement that is quite nice. As you and your team grow, the number of abilities they can choose to learn increases. If you don't select an ability to learn, AP will be distributed to one automatically. So yeah, it won't be wasted, unlike in Final Fantasy VIII. So yeah. To find out more about choosing and learning abilities, refer to the Learning of New Abilities tutorial. Or I can just show you. Very trigger happy. I didn't show it off, but you probably saw it in Yuna's battle, or I guess command list. It does very little damage, like maybe 0 to 1, maybe 2 damage per bullet, but it's basically just there to help you boost up the chain gauge. So yeah, what happens is a bar comes up and you got to mash the R1 button, the trigger, to basically build up the chain gauge as high as you can, and then you got to hopefully you've got multitasking down to the point where you can navigate menus at the same time that you're doing that, and to finish up with a nice attack after the trigger happy ends. So yeah. And then Blue Bullet is essentially the blue magic of the game, which, unlike last game, they've made considerably more useful, or I guess easier to use in this game. So yeah, you don't have to have a full, you don't have to use a limit break to use it. You can just, if you've learned it, you can use it. So yeah, I think it just requires MP now. So yeah, and Oversoul. One of the biggest additions to the game that definitely has influenced my decision to try not to cut out too many, if any, random battles in the game. Occasionally, a fiend will abruptly enter a higher state of being known as Oversoul. Oversouled fiends can be challenging adversaries. Indeed, they can. Certain fiends will Oversoul if you defeat several fiends of the same type. And it doesn't... Yeah, okay, so yeah, each of the majority of fiends are assigned a specific type, and as you kill more of that type of enemy, when you reach a certain threshold, the next one you face will be Oversouled, which will have boosted HP. The drop tables will be different. It will be either upgraded or changed. The elemental affinities can change. Status susceptibilities can change as well. And on top of that, it'll actually double your reward for killing it as well. So what that means, or not necessarily in terms of drops, but most enemies will give you 1 AP when you defeat them. Oversouled enemies give you 2. So yeah. So Oversouled fiends can be a handful in battle, but the spoils of victory are well worth the efforts. They can be. And then special dress spheres. Remember the 14 job classes? Well, this goes into the 3 special ones for each of the characters. So yeah, find special dress spheres, and Yuna, Riku, and Pain will be able to sphere change into new, more powerful forms. Once you've sphere changed into all the dress spheres currently placed on the equipped garment grid, you can access special dress spheres. Press L1 to open the garment grid, then press R1 to access the current character's special dress sphere. And despite what the grid there shows, you do not need to fill out all the pathways. You just need to change into each of the garment grid has to be full for it to be able to work, but you just have to access each of them before you can change into your special dress sphere. So basically, the special dress spheres, I see them as being a replacement for the Aeons from last game. So yeah, it's good because the character will have to fight alone. However, all special dress spheres have 2 support units. So yeah, basically becomes a party of its own, of their own. So yeah, so it's like fighting with a full party of 3 people. Yeah. So each of the different parts of the dress sphere will have different abilities, kind of thing. So yeah. Note characters lose abilities and status boost gained from the equipment and garment grid gates once they change into a special dress sphere. So yeah. But on the bright side, all special dress spheres come with their ribbon ability learned, so it makes them immune to most status ailments. So yeah. I believe they're still susceptible to curse. Can't remember for sure on that one, but that strikes me as an ability that would still apply. But anyways, and if it doesn't, if it protects against that, then so much the better. Anyways, you automatically change out of a special dress sphere if KO'd. That's kind of misleading. You only change out of the dress sphere if the main person is killed. So on the picture there, you see Yuna with right pistol and left pistol. As long as Yuna, if her HP drops to 0, then yeah, you will change out of the dress sphere, and I believe it will actually, put her KO'd on the field. But if either the right pistol or the left pistol gets HP gets drained to 0, you will not change out of it. You'll have it on. You can. Most of them do have the ability to revive any, revive them. So yeah, they can be to support, I guess, parts of the dress sphere can be revived before you change out of it. Anyways, to change out during battle, press L1 to call up the garment grid, and then you can change back to the dress sphere you were in before you changed into the special one. So yeah, which can be useful in certain situations. Alright, and finally...
I know everything.
Oh, wait, I don't think I've... Not quite finally yet. Where is it? Yep, okay. We're done with that. Gotta talk to him again.
I know everything.
I don't even think they changed that for the HD remaster where you gotta talk to him every single time, but anyways. What else did I miss? Glossary, Yeah, I guess I better go into the using garment grids, because you actually get something out of this. I don't think it's completion, but it's still fairly useful. Alright, to sphere change, Yuna and her team must equip garment grids that have dress spheres placed on them. To place dress spheres on a garment grid, first select garment grids from the menu. The list of the party's garment grids is now displayed. Let's place a dress sphere on Vanguard, a garment grid that is currently empty. Once we select Vanguard, the list of the party's dress spheres is displayed. When we select a dress sphere, the cursor moves to the garment grid. And in case you're wondering, it's doing this automatically, I'm just advancing the text. Then we simply select a node into which to place the dress sphere. And it's as simple as that. That's all there is to placing a dress sphere on a garment grid. Yeah, they decided to keep it simple for this. Because this is starting to sound a little bit like the junction system in Final Fantasy VIII, but it seemed like they made it much more complicated than it needed to be. In this one, whoever did the tutorial for this seemed to understand that sometimes saying too much can be a bad thing. So yeah. You're going to see your team sphere change by moving along the paths connecting dress spheres. So yeah, you can't just change to any dress sphere on the sphere grid unless you go through the paths to reach it, kind of thing. So yeah, one caveat to it. Some garment grids have gates. Gates appear as icons, such as a yellow swirl along the paths of the garment grid. So yeah, you can see the 4 different types of gates on the bottom right there. The yellow, blue, red, and green. When a character passes through gates like the yellow swirl, she is granted special abilities. And when she passes through this one, she'll get a +5 boost to her strength for the duration of the battle. Or for as long as she's alive, I believe. So yeah. Consider the effects of each gate when deciding where to place dress spheres. So yeah, that definitely can also influence how you fit out the garment grids. And bonuses gained by passing through gates last only the duration of the battle. And like I said, unless it does still apply when you... No, I don't think it does, because I remember specifically, specific situations when I was preparing for the LP that definitely did not carry the... after reviving somebody that had been KO'd, they definitely did not have the effect of the dress sphere at that point. Alright, so aspects of tracing dress spheres are rearranged, so basically just change the location of them on the grid without removing them. And you start from scratch by choosing Remove All. and Otto will place whatever dress sphere is on whichever node. And this garment grid obviously has 5 nodes in it. You might be wondering, well, what happens when you use Auto when there's more than 5 dress spheres? Well, I don't really intend on using the Auto mode, but I guess we'll show it off when we get to that point. And now to equip garment grids. So the cursor indicates the name of the garment grid unit currently has equipped. Pressing cross will bring up the list of garment grids that are available to equip. Keep in mind, if any of the garment grids are not equipped with anything, they'll be grayed out and you can't select them. So yeah, or at least it's either that, or if you do select them, they'll force you to put garment grids in, but I'm fairly certain it just grays them out. So yeah, so you can't select them until there's something in them. So if you select Vanguard, the garment grid we just place dress spheres on. Garment grid will change to Vanguard, and you can choose any of the dress spheres on that garment grid to now she's a warrior. And one thing I didn't mention, but for doing that we did get the Vanguard garment grid, so huzzah for that. But yeah, the one thing they didn't mention about the garment grids is that yeah, I might as well take a look at it now. Why not? So yeah, the Vanguard garment grid in the bottom right there, obviously there's the description. Basically just tells you what each of them do. So if you, just by equipping this garment grid, it boosts your strength +5 and your magic +5. Doesn't matter whether you get KO'd or not, that's a passive ability. As long as this garment grid's equipped, you have that stat boost. So yeah, and then the gates obviously add that to a total of 15 strength and 15 magic if you go through all 4 of the gates. So yeah. Anyways.
I know everything.
Back with Shinra. We're almost there. Alright, and learning new abilities. I don't think I really need to go into this. Because it's pretty much already touched on it, all that you really need to know. Select new abilities. And yeah, so the percentage beside each of the dress spheres names is your mastery of that dress sphere. Get the mastery level. As the dress sphere's abilities appear. So yeah, now this is starting to look like the Guardian forces from Final Fantasy VIII. Just a few familiar things with Final Fantasy VIII that are just implemented a bit better. That's all. And the tutorials are a bit easier to do as well. So yeah, to get through. So yeah, basically, I already mentioned that each of the fiends usually only drops 1 AP, and also the fact that you can learn abilities during battle. It just if you're in battle, it'll automatically assign any remaining AP that you get after learning that ability to the quote-unquote default next ability. So yeah, so none of them go to waste. Unless, of course, you don't intend on mastering the dress sphere, unless those extra AP could go into an ability that you have no intention of learning to begin with. So that could end up being a waste. But yeah, while you're under the dress sphere menu here, you can press R1 and L1 to select, between them, different dress spheres. And you can do the same thing from the character select that, one menu up, where you're selecting the character's dress sphere, and you can just rotate between Riku, Pain, and Yuna with R1 and L1 there. So yeah, what it's saying right here. And the one thing I've noticed about the dress spheres as well is that for all 3 girls, each dress sphere's stats for each level are identical. The only difference being the abilities you've learned. And then Glossary of Spira. Not going to go into this simply because it covers pretty much most, if not everything, that happened in Final Fantasy X, except for this stuff. But I'll let the game introduce those. But yeah, so and Sphere Hunters, and yeah, the game touches on this with the story, so I think I'll just pass on it. Yeah, let's take a look at Sim, why not? Sin, an entity that appeared at the end of the Machina War between Bavel and Zanarkand. It brought with it 1,000 years of chaos and destruction that halted the advancement of Spear's civilization. Summoners were able to defeat Sin using the final summoning, but Sin always came back. By breaking with that tradition, Yuna succeeded in eliminating Sin for good. Yeah. That's all you're getting for that. Like I said, just get fully caught up with Final Fantasy X and you should be good to go. So yeah. Alright, so yeah, we got the Vanguard Garment Grid. I'll take care of that when we need to. Don't worry about it when I need to, but
I know everything.
after getting through all of that stuff, let's take a look at Treasure Spheres and get the completion for speaking to Shinra. Journeys start. Set Yuna on her path as a sphere hunter. The date and details of this recording are unknown. And this is the sphere that is introduced or shown in the prologue, the Eternal Calm prologue. So yeah. But we still, even if you've seen the prologue, you still have to watch it here for the completion.